Hey, welcome back to the channel. Did you know that your eyes are your new core? Let me explain, and then I'll teach you some exercises, so hang tight. Here's what I want you to know about what it is to have a good functioning core. There are three types of core control. There is anticipatory core control, which means that you actually have reflexive systems that help stabilize your body before you go and do any voluntary movement. This is the type of stabilization that you do not need to think about. It's completely unconscious, it's reflexive, and hopefully, if those reflexive systems are working well, you will get the appropriate stability that you need before you do whatever voluntary movement that you are doing. Number two is voluntary core control. This is the type of core control that you are most familiar with. This is what the entire fitness industry is designed around, the idea of voluntary movement. So when you do a sit-up or a bird dog or a plank or a leg raise or whatever kind of core exercise that you like to do, that is a voluntary movement. That is you making a decision to produce that movement. The last kind of core control is reactionary-based core control. This is literally the core control that you use when you're making reactions to things or changing variables in your environment. And it is actually your visual system that is helping you do this the most. It's not only the visual system, but because we get so much input from the outside world that comes in through our eyes, most of our movement decisions are created based off what we see. So, three types. We've got anticipatory core control, voluntary core control, and then finally, reactionary core control. So now, why does all this matter? Here's the takeaway. You probably only practice voluntary core control, which again is that decision to make a voluntary movement. And you're not practicing anything that gives you anticipatory core control or reactionary core control. So this is a really big deal because it just so happens that the voluntary component of core control really only makes up about 10% of the total output. So where does that other 90% come from? It comes from the reflexive part that nobody seems to be training. Now, back to why I wanted to create this video. This video is all about your eyes being your new core. And the reason I'm saying this is because it just so happens that it's your visual system or exercising your eyes that directly targets those reflexive systems that I'm talking about. So if you know how to train your visual system, you can actually improve the health and the function of your core because you're training the reflexive part of the core control that you've probably never trained before. Cool? Let's do some exercises to get you started on this. I've got 3 vision exercises that I'm going to take you through. Are you ready? Here we go. All right, this first exercise is a very simple one. It's called eye circles. Now you need a visual target for all of these exercises that I'm going to show you. I've got this cool little letter pencil. You don't need this to do the exercise. You can use a pen or a pencil and just look at the tip of a pen or a pencil, or maybe choose a letter that you see on the logo. If you don't have anything to use for a visual target, you can use your fingers for whatever we're doing. It's just that generally the brain likes to have some sort of target to look at, so if you have a nice letter, that's useful. So here we go with eye circles. You're gonna stand in a neutral stance, lengthen up so that you're in good posture. And it's really simple. You're gonna look at your target and you're gonna create eye circles. And so I'm tracking my target as I move it in a circle. And you'll notice that my head is not moving. And that's actually really important because the common mistake is for people to move their head a little bit, thinking that they're moving only their eyes, but they don't have the control to stabilize at the neck. So if that's happening to you, take your other finger, place it on your chin for a little bit of feedback, and then when you perform these eye circles, you'll actually feel if by chance you start to move your head. And of course, I'm going to go in both directions. Now, usually when I do this, to start, I'm probably going to do about 3 to 5 of them in each direction. Now, the goal is to take your eyes through the largest range of motion that you can, but you still want both eyes to be looking at the target. If I happen to make a circle that's so big, this target's going to kind of end up in my peripheral vision, and that's not what we want. We want both eyes being able to see the target at all times as you move through the circle. So keep that in mind. Now, there may be moments during your circle where you notice that one part of the circle is harder than other parts of the circle. And you might notice that it's more challenging to coordinate, or even your visual acuity gets a little bit worse. Maybe your eyes have a hard time staying on the target in that particular spot. And that's all good feedback for you. And what that means is you would want to slow down your target and maybe spend a little bit more time smoothing out that part of the circle. Finally, don't strain your eyes. Believe it or not, especially if you are somebody that wears glasses, because glasses cage your vision, which means they reduce the range of motion that your eyes move through on the regular. When people start doing these eye circles and moving their eyes to their fullest range of motion, it can be very fatiguing on the eyes. So if you feel any kind of stress or fatigue, that is your cue to make a smaller circle, or just stop your set until the next time you do it and build up gradually over time. So these are eye circles. This is a great place to start. All right, this second exercise is called a visual saccade, and you need 2 visual targets for this. So I've got 2 letter pencils, but if you want, you can use your index fingers, or again, like I mentioned, 2 pens, 2 pencils, anything like that. You could even put 2 targets on the wall. If you have like an index card or a sticky note and you make a dot on it, put it up on the wall. Now, when we do a visual saccade, what this is a very fast eye movement, jumping your eyes from one target to another target. So, in order to do a visual saccade, I would take my visual targets, place them out in front of me, maybe just outside of shoulder width apart. I'm looking now at the camera as kind of my starting point, but what I'm going to do is jump my eyes to my target over here on the left. And then I would jump my eyes to my target over here on the right. And I'm going to go back and forth, making sure that I'm leaving enough time to acquire my target that I can see it clearly. And that's important. You don't want to just move so fast and not allow your eyes to focus on the target. And the speed at which it takes you to bring the target into focus is a big deal. We want that to be instantaneous. So if you notice a little lag there, this would be important for you to train. Some people won't feel any kind of lag in terms of focusing, and you'll be able to go quite fast. So this would be an example of a horizontal visual saccade. And again, I want to be in good posture as I do this. Okay, lengthening up, nice and long spine position, and I would do my horizontal positions. Now, there's several other positions you could explore. If you think about all of the positions on a compass, right? I could do vertical, where I'm going up and down. Okay, but I could also do some angles. So this would be up, right, down, left. Okay, and of course, I could come over here, up, left, down, right. Okay, so you can do any of those directions that you want. A good place to start would be like 10 to 20 repetitions of visual saccades, making sure that only your eyes are moving, not your head. Okay, you have to have the control to stabilize your head and neck as your eyes move. All right, our last of the 3 exercises is called a near-far jump. It is somewhat similar to the saccades, except that instead of going like side to side or up and down with our fast eye movements, we're going to be focusing on something close to us and then jumping our eyes to a target in the distance and focusing on that. So when you do a near-far jump, there's several ways you can set this up. You'll need a target, which will be your near target. And ideally, you would have a target that is far away from you. That could be on the wall, or if you're inside, but you can look out a window, you can maybe find a point on a tree that you see in the distance. If you're inside and you don't really have the ability to do that, you could actually use 2 targets and have one at an arm's length and one really in close towards the tip of your nose. And it's still a near-far jump. It's just that it's not the kind where your eyes have to focus on something in the distance. So here's what I want you to do for a near-far jump. assuming you do have a target you can use in the distance, you're going to take your near target and you're going to follow it in towards the tip of your nose and try to find that point where your eyes are tracking it and it's just about to, the letter that you're using or whatever is just about to get out of focus. We're going to kind of balance that line to really challenge our visual system to try to bring that target into focus. So that is going to be, for most people, somewhere between 6 and 10 inches away from your face. Okay, so when I set up my near target, this is a good spot for me. And my far target is going to be something that I see on the wall behind the camera. So now the idea is to, again, get into a neutral stance with a nice long spine posture. And you're going to jump your eyes from the near target to the far target, back to the near target. And so what I'm doing is similar to when we were doing the saccades, only now what you're going to experience is that it's actually harder to bring your targets into focus. It will take longer. But here's the idea. You want your focus to be as fast as possible. And if you're finding that it takes 1 second or longer for either your near or far target to come into good visual clarity, that's too long. We actually want to train this. We want to train the speed of this so that your eyes can adjust very, very quickly and bring your targets, whether it's the far target or the near target, into good, clear vision. So as you're doing this, and I'll tell you what I'm experiencing, is that I'm very fast at bringing my near target into clear vision, but my far target is too slow. So I need to work on this. When you jump your eyes to the far target, it's kind of like all of a sudden the world's coming back together and boom, there's your far target, but there shouldn't be much lag. It should just happen right away. Okay, so this is training the speed. And it's getting a little bit easier for me as I go. Now, make sure that only your eyes are doing the movement. You don't want your head like moving, right? Down and out, down and up. I see a lot of like little head movements when people are practicing this for the first time. Again, take that index finger, place it on your chin, just to remind yourself that this has to be only eye movement. So that's our near-far jump. All right, so you've practiced your 3 exercises: circles, saccades, and near-far jumps. Okay, this is a great starting point. Now, how do you know if this is working for you? Well, there's actually a really fun process that you can take yourself through. Take any strength or stability-based core exercise that you like to practice and actually use it as an assessment. So let's say you're practicing planks or you're practicing some kind of, rotary movement where you're pulling on a band or a cable machine, whatever the case might be. Use that exercise as your baseline assessment to get a sense for how stable and strong you feel or how good is the quality of your movement. Then immediately perform one of the vision exercises, circles, saccades, or the near-far jumps. And once you've completed a set of that exercise, go back to the core training and see how you feel. Many times you will feel much stronger and more stable, and your quality of movement will actually be better. And you can go through that with all 3 of the vision exercises to see which one might be the best for you. If you discover that one of them happens to be really useful for you, you can use that as a potentiation style drill where, let's say you're working out and you're about to do something where you know you need good stability, a good reactive core. Well, then you could call on that vision exercise and practice it just before doing the other voluntary movement that you are practicing. This is just a really fun way to utilize this vision training and get kind of an immediate response that helps you in your training. Now, beyond that, you can just be practicing these vision drills as a standalone practice, and making sure that your eyes are moving the way that they should is just a really healthy thing to do. We know we need mobility training. The eyes are no different. We know we need strength training. The eyes are no different. And the eyes are arguably more important because of how involved they are with our reflexive systems that help us with so many other things. So you can just practice this as a standalone routine, roughly 5 to 10 repetitions of each exercise or position at first. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you is that with vision training, it's actually very energy expensive. Even though it feels like you're not really doing anything compared to like strength training, you'll be amazed how fast your eyes can get tired. And some people can even feel like some eye strain if they do too much. So start with very minimal repetitions and you can build up over time. That's what I had planned for you today. I hope you enjoyed these exercises. If you have questions about any of these exercises, please reach out in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and help you out. If you enjoyed this video, give it the thumbs up because it really helps. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Remember, if you want to go deeper into applied neurology and how to use it to help you improve your movement, but also help you reduce pain, then check out all the things that we have. The Cruise Elite podcast, our dojo monthly membership, and the Neuro Dojo, which is our specialty course where we go much, much deeper into applied neurology and teach movement professionals how to use all this stuff to help their clients. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.